Machiavelli warned men about this mistake 500 years ago, and yet most men still fall for it every single day. Right now, somewhere in your life, someone is controlling your mind, your money, and even the words coming out of your mouth. You think being honest and working hard earns respect, but in truth, strategic positioning does. Machiavelli would call you a slave of fortune. Because when you can't control these three things, you surrender your power. In the next few minutes, you'll learn Machiavelli's hidden formula, how to control your mind, your mouth, and your money. And no one will ever manipulate you again. But before we go deeper, understand this isn't about manipulation, it's about defense. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince to show rulers how to protect their power from betrayal and chaos. You're protecting yours. From bosses who exploit you, relationships that drain you, and money decisions that trap you. Understanding power doesn't make you evil. Staying blind to it makes you a target, so no one ever controls you again. The man watching this right now isn't the same man who'll finish it. Once you see how these three pillars of control work, you'll never unsee them. You're crossing a threshold, from being the man who reacts emotionally to the man who responds strategically. Most men never make this shift. They stay blind their entire lives, wondering why people take advantage of them. But you're different. You're here. That means something. Let me show you what changes today. Comment "Untouchable" if you're ready to stop being controlled and start controlling your own life. I read every single comment. Show me you're paying attention. Machiavelli said, "Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who seeks to deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived." Translation: most men are mentally lazy. They react emotionally instead of thinking strategically. Here's what modern neuroscience confirms. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that when men lose emotional control, their brains enter powerlessness mode. This triggers decreased activity in the left frontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for dominance, confidence, and strategic thinking. In other words, the moment you lose control over your emotions, your brain physically weakens your ability to regain power. And here's what's worse. Your opponents know this. They're using psychological tactics to make you speak too much, spend too much, and think too little. Every time you fall for it, they gain more power over you. But here's the flip side. Men who suppress emotional reactivity and engage in strategic thinking experience increased dopamine activity in the brain's reward center. This is the same neurological pattern found in dominant leaders, top negotiators, and Machiavellian strategists. Your silence is your weapon. But here's where it gets darker. The men who control you, they're not smarter than you. They just understand one thing you don't. Perception beats merit. So, how do you control your mind? Step 1. Never react immediately. Delay your response by 24 hours in high-stakes situations. Step 2. Ask yourself, who benefits if I act on this emotion right now? If it's not you, don't act. Step 3. Train your brain to see people as chess pieces, not friends or enemies. Every interaction is a move. Every move has a consequence. This is what separates men who lead from men who follow. Write this down. Your silence is your weapon. Screenshot this if you need to remember it. Let me show you what this looks like in real time. Setup. Picture this. It's Tuesday afternoon. You're in a team meeting. Your manager says, "We need someone to take the lead on this weekend project. It's urgent. Who can step up?" Everyone's silent. You feel the pressure. Here's what's really happening. Your manager just created artificial urgency to test who will absorb chaos without pushing back. If you say yes reflexively, you've signaled you're infinitely exploitable. Next time, he'll dump even more. Most men say, sure, I'll handle it. They sacrifice their weekend, and they wonder why their boss keeps exploiting them. But here's the Machiavellian response. I can prioritize that, but I'm currently finalizing the Q3 report, due Monday, and the client presentation for tomorrow. If I shift focus to this project, the Q3 report will be delayed by 2 days. Which would you prefer I deprioritize? Notice what just happened. You didn't refuse. You forced a negotiation. You made him aware that exploiting you has costs. Costs he must now justify. Your manager pauses. He didn't expect strategic resistance. You just controlled your mind instead of letting him control it. Your silence is your weapon. Type strategic if you've ever said yes to something you should have negotiated. Comment it right now. I want to see who's learning this. Machiavelli warned, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Most men talk too much. They reveal their plans, their weaknesses, and their insecurities without even realizing it. But strategic men, they understand the power of strategic silence. A study on Machiavellian leadership found that leaders who suppress emotional expression are perceived as stronger, more competent, and more trustworthy, even when they're manipulating behind the scenes. Here's why. When you speak, you give away control. When you stay silent, you force others to reveal themselves. Workplace dominance studies show that Machiavellian leaders use silence as a weapon. They listen, observe, and only speak when it gives them a tactical advantage. Your silence is your weapon. You have 10 seconds to realize how this works before someone uses it on you tomorrow. So how do you control your mouth? Step 1. In negotiations, let the other person speak first. They'll reveal their position, their desperation, and their limits. Step 2. Never justify your decisions to people who don't have power over you. Explanations are for subordinates, not for men in control. Step 3. When someone asks you a direct question, pause for 3 seconds before answering. This signals dominance and forces them to second-guess their approach. Remember, the man who talks the least often holds the most power. Perception beats merit. Write this down. Perception beats merit. That's the game within the game. Let me show you another example. Setup. Picture this. Friday night, you're out with friends. A woman you're seeing says in front of everyone, "If you really cared, you'd come to my sister's wedding next weekend." The table goes quiet. Everyone looks at you. Here's the manipulation. She just used public pressure to test your frame. If you justify yourself or comply immediately, she's confirmed she can control you through guilt. This is a dominance test dressed as a request. Most men either get defensive. "I told you I have plans." Comply immediately. Sure, I'll cancel. Both responses equals lost frame. Counter move. Here's the strategic response. We'll talk about it later, but not here. Then you turn to your friend. "So what were you saying about that trip?" What just happened? You refused to negotiate under public pressure, you set a boundary without emotion, you redirected social attention immediately. She just learned she can't use social manipulation to control you. Your silence is your weapon. Comment, frame control. If you've ever been tested like this and wish you had responded strategically, let me know you're seeing the patterns now. Machiavelli said, "He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner effects his ruin than his preservation." In simple terms, if you can't control your money, someone else will. Research shows that power and financial control are inseparable. Men who lack financial discipline experience increased stress, reduced status, and loss of influence in social and professional hierarchies. But here's what most men don't realize. Machiavellian leaders don't just save money. They weaponize it. They use financial leverage to create dependency, control relationships, and manipulate outcomes. A study on organizational power dynamics found that leaders who control resources, money, access, opportunities, increase their psychological dominance over others by 73%. Strategy rewards itself, but here's what they don't want you to know. The man who controls his money controls his options, and the man who controls his options controls his life. So how do you control your money? Step 1. Never let anyone know your full financial situation. The moment they know, they'll either exploit you or underestimate you. Step 2. Build a power fund. 6 months of expenses saved. This removes desperation from your decisions and gives you the freedom to walk away from bad deals. Step 3. Use money as leverage, not status. Don't spend to impress. Spend to control. The man who controls his money controls his life. Strategy rewards itself. Write this down. Strategy rewards itself. Screenshot this. You'll need it Monday. You used to react emotionally. You believed words over actions. You thought loyalty was reciprocal by default. You're becoming the man who responds strategically, who controls his mind, his mouth, and his money. Old you trusted first, questioned later. New you verifies first, trusts strategically. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. Your silence is your weapon. Perception beats merit, strategy rewards itself. Type, "I'm done playing fair," if you're ready to start playing strategically. Comment it right now. I want to see who's committed to this shift. 6 months from now, you'll look back at this moment. You'll either be the man who learned Machiavelli's 3 pillars and applied them, who controls his mind, his mouth, and his money. Or you'll be the man who knew the game existed but chose to keep reacting emotionally, while everyone else played strategically. Which version of yourself are you building? The old you hoped fairness would be rewarded. The new you understands that strategy rewards itself. And you're the strategist now. You're untouchable. So here's what you need to remember. Machiavelli's hidden power formula is simple. Control your mind. Control your mouth. Control your money. Most men will never apply this. They'll keep reacting emotionally, talking too much, and spending recklessly. But you now have the psychological framework that separates dominance from weakness. The next time someone tries to manipulate you, ask yourself, am I controlling my mind, my mouth, and my money? Or am I letting them control me? That one question will change everything. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 pillars? Mind, mouth, or money? Do you struggle with the most? Comment below and let me know how you plan to take back control. And if you're ready to master more Machiavellian strategies for power, influence, and dominance, subscribe and hit that bell.